ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे वागर्धाविदसंवृतौ वागर्धप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. सुखाय नमः. Good evening everyone. As a part of the integrated study on science, sociology and scriptures. So today, the 22nd of June, this class would be a very special class to both, to myself personally, because as it was a blessing from me, it was a blessing from Master Guru to me to take over this session for today. So before we start the session on, as we are continuing on the sociology and the group studies, that what we are in Pradyumna is taking about for the last 1 week. So I will be taking you to a session today that will take you to the sociological groups and the establishment of humanity races and their vivid uses in a lot number of fields like technology, education, medicine, research and development and many other factors as well. So prior to that, the day today, the 22nd of June, has its own highest importance in the astronomical calendar. The 22nd of June is one specific day where we call it, which we call it as the Summer Solstice. That means the longest day. As if you have a scientific or astronomical calculator, if you can calculate, the day length of today is approximately 12 hours 36 minutes. 36 minutes more to the general ordinary day. So that means today we have the longest day. So the sun rays on the earth today will be abundantly more than comparing to the other days of the year. So and another day after 6 months from today is December 22nd, which we call as the winter solstice, in which we have the night part of the day, which is in more in number. That means it is more than 12.5 hours of a night division without sun. But today we have a 12.5 hour of daylight, which is called as an abundant day receiving capacity for the human beings as well. So if you can closely relate this astronomical aspect with other astrological events and all, that means today we can receive sunrise or the sunlight abundantly more when comparing to the other part of the days. That means we can receive each and every will from the sun, or what we call as the sankalp from the sun, which is evidently more. When I talk about sunlight, I'll be speaking about the willpower from the sun, that which is indirectly touching our body in the form of a heat, and which is generating some sort of a chemical reaction called sweat upon our body. So this is just a chemical phenomena that what happens when a heat object is close by to our body, will respond to it, will react to it. So this is one such chemical reaction where the latent energies of the human beings are being sprouted out at this time. So today, it is an advantageous factor for one man to become a master or to become a yogi or to devote himself towards the higher light of initiations. And there is another important factor, that is, from today, the direction of the sun changes from the northern hemisphere towards the southern hemisphere. That is why we call it as the Dakshinayana. That means the southward movement of the sun starts from today, and which lasts up to 6 months. That means for the coming up to 22nd of December. So this 6 months of period, which we call as the Dakshinayana, has a very major role to play in the materialistic world. The Uttarayana part of the 6 months has a very vital role to play in the subjective world, or doing meditations, pujas, homas and other factors as well. But in the Dakshinayana part of the sun movement actually gives us the sprouting or actually gives us an advantageous factors or gives us some opportunities to fulfill all our wishes and deeds in this objective world, like getting a job, working upon a job, getting into promotions, building up a house, housewarmings, this, that, and all. But all the pious things related to the devatas and the devaganas and all the higher solar beings will be conducted in the Uttarayana part of the time, which is from December 22nd to June 22nd. So the last 6 months of the part which has been undergone, which all of us have undergone. So the coming 6 months of the time, what actually happens is, it is an opportunity for us. It is an opportunity for us to better ourselves and prepare ourselves for the coming next 6 months. So last 6 months we have undergone an examination. We have taken some syllabus and all. So the examination will be conducted on this day. And again we will be giving some course and we will be preparing for all the courses and all. And we will be learning also some new courses and all. And again the next examination will be on 22nd of December. So there are some two devatas who organize these days. Those are called as Hiranyastupa and Dirghatamas. Hiranyastupa is the lord of this day, the 22nd June. And Dirghatamas, the longest night, what we call as, or the longest night is the day that what we call as. So Dirghatamas is the lord of that day. That means the highest state of subject to experience, or the highest state of our complete slumberance, we can say, like. Because slumberance is a word that which we use in other some negative sense as well, not in that positive sense. But where we lose ourselves is that the main symbol that word we can say about it. And now coming to this day, the 22nd of June, where the sun actually changes its direction from north and starts its direction towards south. So the movement of the sun, when the movement of the sun changes, there are a lot more things that happen towards the sun as well. Because the moment when we change our house, first of all the address changes, all our relatives will be known that we will be moving from one place to another. So all our circle has an information or a notification that one particular part of or one particular family is moving from here to there. Think that we are moving from one town to another town. Our expansion grows actually. So the intimation, and we will be intimating each and everybody that we are moving from one town to another town. Imagine that we are moving from one country to another country completely. So our expansions will be very in broader way. So since from all our address proof, ID proof, that and all, we will be having a very fundamental work of all this and we will be preparing for the higher move. Likewise, when a planetary chain or when the planetary lord sun changes its direction, it is indirectly an indication to all the planets and all to the living beings on the earth that to get ready for the next highest preparation. That's it. Okay. So that sort of a preparation is being carried out in this time. So taking up a group study or making up some classes like this in this very particular time is definitely a very great opportunity for all of us to take that higher light within a very least effort and all this subject to gurus that who are available there with us, and also with the subjects that we have been undergoing, like the sociology, the subjects, the science, and also the scriptures as well. Now again come back to our topic of the day. So today I will be dealing you with the sociological groups that what are there in the world and what is the need of a group actually. The basic definition of the word sociology and the group studies, what actually makes us to stand in a group, what is the need of a group, so why human being is being created, why human being is called as a social animal, and some other related factors as well. To begin with, man is created in the image of the God. This is the statement that what Bible uses. Man is created in the image of the God. So we are a duplicate or a replication of the godly principle of the Almighty. Because we are having some subjective tools and all, and even some objective experiences that what all we have. Even though we have all the faculties of the God, we have some other some sort of a negative things in with us as well, like our mind being fluctuated here and there, and not able to concentrate upon one subject and getting into highest salvation or highest elevation or things as well. So this is what the human being is actually made up of. So when I compare a human being to a God, I'll be comparing to all the body, the physical structure, the buddhi, the manas, the ahankara, and what all we have, all the subjective things as well. So when a human being is compared to a God, that means the godliness is already being present in the human being. It's our duty to define the godliness and to awaken the godliness at the right point of time to achieve good results. There is an English saying, different people who are apart from the society or people who are very high intellect from the society don't do things differently, don't do different things, they do things differently. That means the outlook that what they expose towards the society makes up the things heavier. So this is what the question that was given to the other people when they were seeing an apple falling down from the Newton. If you closely observe the thing that what has happened there, the gravitation or the force called gravitation was neither being found in the apple falling down but nor on the earth. But it was completely a comparative study or linking up of all these observations of the physical observations with the deepest passion towards it. The gravitation is not there in the apple. The gravitation is not there in the earth. The gravitation is not there in the system of the falling. But it was completely a linking up of all these physical observations with some deeper passion into it. The same thing happened with Marconi also, when he has discovered the radio frequency ratios. He could have found out all the different frequency values, but except only one value. So it has got all the negative things out and you end up with one positive result in which it has now developed into our microphones and mobile phones range as well. The frequency, radiations and the vibrations. The same sort of thing might have even happened to Edison as well. 99,000 of experiments have been failed and one experiment was successful, which resulted in a great physical work. So, the moment when we speak about any innovation or any sort of a great thought, it comes out of an extreme passion or extreme pain, out of extreme physical work and extreme physical or mental labor. So, whenever all these sort of physical observations take place at one point of time, we'll be ending up with a new innovation. It might happen to one person, it might happen to a group of people, it might happen to a group of nations at a time as well. Imagine in a case where we have a world war, where each and every part of the country is being severely struck. We don't know at which place which bomb will fall and how many people will die. Even in that place, the moral strength of the people will actually make the country to win the world. Not exactly, there's not the atom bombs or not the rifles that what the people do have. It was just the moral value and the moral pressure that what they have towards the positive result that's end up in the very good result. That's what happened in the case of Germany and Scotland as well. When they were in the second war of the issues. Out of one person's ego, we just end up in a very big disastrous war. And out of that, a very disastrous what happened, like atomic bombardment and warning as well. So if you closely observe the things that were completely happening around the world for the past some 120 years, the sociological groups, the latent sociological groups I'm speaking about, who are not even visible to the society, have been abundantly working out for the world peace. There are some severe organizations and several organizations which work for the benefit of the society and for the benefit of the other sort of a people, where their prominence has been highestly being considered. Have you ever, there is a war principle. There is a war principle actually, in which the war should happen between two countries. Either their people or our people should not get hurt. The natural resources should not be damaged. These are the war principles that what they portray. The natural resources should not be disturbed. The people living in a very mass community area should not be disturbed. The natural resources or the forests or the rivers should not be culminated or should not be contaminated with all these war fightings and all. So this is the ethical sense of a war. Because since it is a war, the end of the war is overcoming of one country to another country or proving their own success rate. So even in this kind of conditions also, we have an ethical sense of moral binding with all these rules and regulations. And now apply the same to our human values. When I want to achieve when I want to conquer one human being, either I have to achieve his money to have a supremacy over him, or either I have to achieve all his needs and deeds so that he will be under my control, or else I should be highly qualified or highly educated than him so that I can command him at any point of time. So whenever one person shows his dominance on another person, either of all these following factors are the very key points that one can dominate on the other person. If love, compassion and we can say like all these very positive qualities can dominate one person completely and extremely passionate towards the other people, if these values take a very predominant role in making up the relationship with one other person, so then definitely there could be a very lesser sense of all these negative values like all these egos, emotions, that and all will go off in a very wrong way. So that means whenever we are pure at our heart, we can definitely win the other people's heart as well. This is the basic principle of winning one person's heart, or winning one person's, or conquering one person as well. So here actually starts a word called group. Group means a group of people, some 10 to 15 people sitting together. So actually the word group comes from some other Latin objectives and that and all, so we'll not go into the deep into the things as well. Anyhow, so whenever I speak about a group or a group work or a group study, that and all, so group means a mixture of people. The moment when I speak about a mixture of people, the people might be of different races, different cultures, different genders, or different age groups as well. In a class of, you can say like in a class of some 50 to 60 people, say in some school where some 4th class or 5th class of children, where we have some 50 to 60 people sitting over here. All students will be of not of same height. 30% of will be of some height and 40% will be of some other height. So that means the physical structure is not unique, is not the same from one person to another person. The physical structures, the skin tone, the voice, the hairstyle, and the other factors as well differ from each and every person. That means everybody is unique by himself. So the moment when I say everybody is unique means that itself shows that God has created every human being in His own image. So the first point that what we have told for today is again been proving over here that I am unique by myself, you are unique by yourself, she is unique by herself, and this fellow is unique by himself. So that means whenever we all are under one roof, that means we generate a work that will be useful for either for ourselves or for somebody others. So this is actually called the group activity or the group work. So if we all of us of similar minds sit together and think about one pious thing, definitely the result will be a very pious and a very positive value. Or if we think about disasters and if we think about making some other people disaster that and all, then it will end up with some other disastrous practice as well. So this is what the end of the creation of the origin of a group as well. Now, if we compare this same philosophy of making of the groups into a very well-known astrological aspect, right? So in the terms of astrology, we will be reading about some planets. Planets means the heavenly objects that what we see in the sky at night by using some telescopes and all. For our better understanding, we consider them as some heavenly objects itself. So we'll be knowing some other planets like Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, so that and all. And now, among in the planets as well, we call them as solar system. That means a group of planets or a collection of planets, placing them together and making into one objective work. So they are doing one specific work of their own. They are rotating in their same old orbital for past some thousands and lakhs of years and coming for the thousands and lakhs of years also. So they have been regulated to do their own work. Because again a group activity, the sun axis will never mix up with the moon axis. They have their own orbitals and their own orbital speeds and axis as well. So the moon axis, the Venus axis and the Mars axis will not combine together. They have their own respective axis and all the movement. So that means they have been regulated to do their own one specific work for the cause of their humanity, for a very noble cause. That noble cause, which we define as astrology, have their influence upon our birth and our death and our all other livelihood and all our activities as well. So we can define the state of a chart, or we have our horoscopes and you can find that there could be one common principle between all of us sitting here and standing here and working with one. Because since there is no common aspect, if there is no common aspect, why we all be sitting over here? So there will be one latent common aspect between all of us. So that itself shows that every human being has to mingle with other human being to form a divine work. To give a work as an output, one human being has to mingle up with another human being. It is called the law of nature. It is called the law of nature. Out of what we combine to each other? Out of a science, out of a word, out of some ego, or out of some passion, or out of some love, or out of some bondage, or simply out of nothing. Everything might happen. So, when my voice reaches you, definitely you will be having two things to understand. One is my voice, and the second thing is the meaning inside it. As like these two combined together, one human being cannot exist upon himself. Has to mingle with some other human being for his survival. We can firstly we consider about the selfish man, who we consider as a working man, a completely selfish working man. So we work with some other people out of our own benefits. Maybe he'll be doing some other work for me in return. So a selfish human being, even though he has to work with some other people. So now think about a sadhu or a sannyasi or some other saint or philosopher who is a universality at his outlook, who doesn't have any selfishness, even though his works will be for the benefit of the nation, or benefit of the society, like what all these Parma Gurus and all these sadhus and sannyasis do as well. A work of Swami Vivekananda, it was completely a selfless work, selfless and emotive, it's a motiveless work actually completely, because he doesn't know that today we'll be reading out all this. It was for the benefit of the humanity. He has sacrificed himself in form of a writing and given his experiences with his guru, and that made us today to follow all the scriptures. So likewise, so whenever the humanity has any sort of a constraint or any sort of a problem, or it was completely into its own hindrance, there will be one power that comes out of the way and puts us into one regulated form. That might be out of a war, out of a love and affection, or out of a supreme command or a power as well. So there are many other alternative sciences that can make a humanity to sit in a group and make a group work. If I say, suppose if our government is a dictatorial government, we are supposed to make our things very regularly at one point of time. If it is to be at 6 o'clock in the morning, it will be at 6 o'clock in the morning. If it is late by 1 minute or it is prior by 1 minute also, we have to be punished. So this is the sort of a government where earlier people used to be. Later on, it was a federal sort of a government, or converted to now the democratic part of a government, where the liberalization was completely into the picture, where the human values and the the individual human values in the mind has been given the utmost power, where we have our own sort of a thinking and we can do our own work, which in turn results to the progress of the nation. So this is how actually the principle will be set up. Say for example, today what I say, if I say like this, if you close your eyes and only listen to me, definitely you will be doing that just for a change. If I ask you to close your eyes and listen to me for the whole day or the whole session, it might not be possible to do. And if I say that I will punish you immediately if you not close to this, that will be again a dictatorship. By force you will do that. By force you will do this. That would be not a very good practice. But if some sadhu or some sannyasi comes here and says about a meditation, and like Master Garu, like a man who comes here and says about a meditation lecture and asks you to close your eyes, involuntarily our eyes will be closed. That means upon the speaker and upon the lecture that what we listen, all this actually turns up into our mind and makes up to take a decision of our own. That means a decisive capacity in the mind is also a group activity. So without a group activity, we can't even take a decision of our own. If you were given a chance to take up a decision for a group, we can't take out any individual decision. We'll be definitely asking about all these 2, 3 people, and about what are the goods and nots of the condition, that and all. So then we'll be coming up with one regular solution. So that is what we call as a group making or a decision making, which the human being is being ultimately having a very good prominence in this one, because he is called. Because out of his wiseness and out of his goodwill, he'll be taking up decisions using all these conditions, and that what all we have it is. Now, convert the same sort of a decisive thinking or a principle mechanism in sort of an astrological aspect by using all these planets and all. There is a planet called Sun, which actually gives the willpower, that what we say, Sankalpa Shakti, what is the willpower. We'll be giving out all this one. So willpower, everybody will be having their own willpower, but somebody will be using it at a very higher scale and somebody with a very lower scale. I do have willpower, the chief minister of this state will be having some willpower, the prime minister also will be having some willpower, but ultimately, putting up the result of the willpower is what that is actually matters. So again, this willpower will be acting upon a mind. So we have got a nice willpower. So what? That has to be in the mind level, that has to come down. That means we have to burn it out. with another factor called moon. So that willpower will be converted into a mind activity with the help of a moon planet. It's a planet called moon, right? And now I have willpower and I have done some activities upon my mind and I have got some full sketch and calculations. So what? The result is not been achieved. The project has not yet been implemented. It's still on the higher science. It's still on the in a conceptual state. So to get it down and to change it into a physical activity, we need a transformer, or we need a translator to make it down to the higher science to the lower science. That planet is called. That is what called as Mercury. So if you closely observe what actually Mercury does is, it takes the mind level of activity into the physical level of activity. So the transformation between a mind level to a physical level is being carried out by Mercury. So when this activity is being carried down, we have to have some physical implementations to work upon it. So those physical implementations will be indicated by the planet called Mars, which we call as aggressiveness, fast, furiousness, valor, vigor. That and all will be indicated by this planet. So out of all this, we can work out some issues, but we cannot convince the people. So the beauty inside the project should be revealed out. So that is again with the help of a planet called Venus. So here if you closely observe, a conceptual state of a project being implemented from a conceptual state to a physical laboral state, we'll be having an implementation of all these 5 planets, right? So here it is again a group activity of all the planets. So whenever in any sort of a state or in any sort of a condition, the group activity is the only key factor which will reveal out a project from a higher state to a lower state or from a descendant state. So the latently, so all these 5 principles or all these 5 cosmic planets which they work for getting some things happen. So latently there will be a power that is running through all these activities. That is called Jupiter. Even though this Jupiter might have a physical presence or might not have a physical presence, but still latently it works all through this chain. We have a good willpower, we have a mind activity, we had a very nice transformation, it was descended to all the lower kind of people, we had a beauty inside it, and we have got all the equipments. Everything is set and done and now ready. So we have to do a physical labor and a physical work. We have to go to the ground, dig it out, put the pillar, make all these things happen, and we have to construct a building like this. So a physical implementation of all these things have to be done. So again, for a physical implementation, we need some other force. That force is again Saturn. Saturn is in one such force which gives a physical implementation or a physical work. So if you closely observe, right from Sun to Saturn, there is a latent arrangement of all the planets inside it. A latent arrangement of all one subjective thing happening from a higher science to a lower descension of the states. That is what we call as the group activity inside the planets. So the moment when we speak about a group activity, this all comes into our picture and it has to be done. Now, a simple circle finishing some 360 degrees of work, and if I need to cut an arc inside it, I have to break it at 1 or 2 equal points, so that I will be getting some other acute angle or obtuse angle or some other angle. So if I want to use that one particular part in any other object, there are some physical conditions that I have to maintain with them, because the size should be same, the size of the slice, the physical dimensions of the product of the slice should be completely equal to merge it into the other part. So if it is a nice cut slice, I can put it in some other place where the equations are very equal and proper. So if my cutting or my usage of this portion is very improper, I cannot use this one in any other part of this one, even not in this one as well. So if you cut a small piece from a circle, and if you try to reattach it to again, there will be some sort of a mistake in arrangement of things as well. That indicates actually what is, when something is complete, enjoy the completeness of the beauty. When something is not complete, what you can make to make it complete? So that is actually a work of a human being when he is in the group. So there is one such question in every group: what should I do? If I keep some 10 people inside one group and ask them to do one duty or ask them to do one work, everybody will be asking me one thing: what should I do? What should I do? And what should I do? If I have been given to you into a group activity, you have to decide of yourself and to do what is my work and what I am to do and what I am not to do, right? So a self-decisive capacity of one human being has to be uplifted or has to be highlighted in one group so that the work is completely done, or else it will be like a half-cut slice that might be arranged or might not be arranged. If there is some other group who is actually waiting for you, you can put yourself and you can put into their seats and they stand as well. So that's how the group activity inside the human mind is actually been given to work as well. Now just completely come out of the box and think. There is a person called Aristotle, the great thinker Aristotle. His definition for a group activity or for a group work is just because of necessity. A man has invented something because he has some necessity. Necessity is the mother of all creation. That's what we can say. So it was a statement of Aristotle that a man mingles or a man reaches with another man or man attached with some other fellow or some other man as well because of his necessity only, not with other subjective things as well. So this is the statement that what the world is now completely accepting thing as well. That's good. So now, what actually made us to devote to the God? If we can see the God directly or personally or we can feel His presence, then we have a devotion towards Him, or the attachment towards God is something different to that aspects. So there are very, very different aspects of attachment between 2-3 people. At sometimes you might not know who the people are as well, but you'll be attracted to his voice, you'll be attracted to his face, or you'll be attracted to his personality and all as well. Even though you don't have any relation with him or you don't have any work with him as well, your attraction is already been done. That means human mind has a very great capacity of attracting people or at times losing people as well. So behind this attraction and losing of people, the science behind the workings of all these conditions is again wishing to live with some other person. Wishing to live with some other person rather than him has the inner science actually, the inner meaning inside it is to double his happiness. When somebody is sorrow, if you console him, his sorrow will be descended, will be down sometimes. When somebody is happy, if you make him somewhat feel very happy about it, his happiness will again increase. He will be also become happy with all the conditions. So the group activity inside the human mind is actually have to be raised upon all the time. For this, we have been given all the examples of all these sciences and all for working out all this one. So this is the same thing that was created with Madame Blavatsky in Isis Unveiled, showing about the root races and how the humanity has been evolved in the present world that and all. Like last week, Master has told us about the Sacred Island, the Lemuria, the Hyperborean, the Aryan race, and the Atlanteans and the Aryan race that and all, where the human beings or the humans were being created in a group way. So there is nothing like ungrouping and all. There was just only one thing called as group, and where the human beings were being created in groups and were being asked to work in groups and were being asked to work in the groups as well. So the group activity was the only thing that was given a very high prominence and the very highest priority for the human beings. So that was the base of the Isis Unveiled, that what Madame Blavatsky has been told, and the sociological groups what been speaking about the working on this as well. Apart from this, what we can do is we can know about the human constitution, the brain capacity inside the human constitution, the understanding capacity or the understanding level of the human brain and the human cognition and mind as well. So it is again a group and collective activity. There are some 3.5 crores of nerves inside our body, which you cannot define it as a group, even though there is a group as well, because it's into one part only. There are no different parts as well. Like in a branch, like in a tree, we have different segments, like the root, the branch, the stem, the leaf, the stem, the fruit, that and all. Even though the collective aggregation will be completely one and the same. It's again a latent arrangement of all the groups. So such sort of a groups we'll be calling it as some trees in that name as well. So starting from each and every point of the activity of a human being, he lives in the society, he lives with all the people who are basically into all the group activity itself. So this is what a basic science of group activity and the basic science of the human evolution creation as well, which Pradyumna will be anyhow dealing with in the other classes and even in the peer class as well. So this is a basic segment that what I was advised and what I was told to say to you people as well. And the next segment of today's topic would be the arising or the need of a group, which has been partially been discussed here now. And the next one would be the group in the scriptures. You can say like the group activity or the group working in the scriptures with all the physical dimensions and all with the physical attributes that what we have. We have some 5 people with us, whom we call as the wisdom, the sons of wisdom, which we call the scripture called as the sons of wisdom, where they represent a star principle inside our body. That means the star principle means the creative aspect of our body. Those are all these 5 planets, I think in the last screen. So the 5 points, that means the sun, the willpower, the moon, the mind, the Mercury, the intellect, the Mars, the furious one, and the Venus, the beauty. So all these fix it to one star, right? These are all these 5 planets, which they indicated to a star principle inside our body, and one rises the will, commands to the moon, given as a mind activity, and then transforms into a physical work with all the physical observations, and also into the beauty of a Venus. So what all this do actually is, they arises a creative ability in us for doing any work and for not doing any work as well. So the moment when we wish to do any work, we have to have some basic principles like what is the need of the work, what is the purpose of the work, what has to be done and what has not to be done, what is the ultimate result that I should attain by doing this work. So all these sort of questions will be arise from the sort of principles of the sun, the moon, the Mercury, the Venus and the Mars. So these 5 principles in our body work together to form a result-oriented work as well. So this is called, in the Vedantic symbolism or in the Puranic symbolism, in the Taittiriya Upanishad we call it as Panchaswadhikarana mantra, the 5-fold principle. The 5-fold principle will be again a part of this one, right? And next comes the color mechanism and the number of the color and the shape, which Pradyumna told you as the occult keyboard, right? The number, color, sound and shape, the other mechanisms as well. So anyhow, that will be again deeply discussed by Mr. Pradyumna. This session is just a gap filling session for me because he's caught up in some other work today, so I'll be handling up the session this time. So the sessions that what we have, what all we have been undergoing for the last 2 weeks and 3 weeks as well, is completely a science of understanding one's own self, nothing more than it. The hidden faculties inside our body are very much more in number. So we have to know that our brain has a constellation with a great bear. The nerves inside our body, or the nadis, that what we call inside our body, has a very great cosmic symbolism with a great bear, constellation in the sky. Why do we call today as a Cancerian constellation? Today is the 0 degrees of Cancer Sun, the 22nd of June. From today onwards, the coming 1 month, we have the constellation of the Cancer going on inside the, you can say like if you can clearly notice in some part of the sky, you'll be having a stars fixing up in a Cancer constellation. So what happens actually when we move into that constellations of the sun? There would be one physical change in our body. The rays of the sun that what we receive today are not the same that we have been receiving 2 months before or 2 months after. The same sunlight will be very much enjoyable to us or will be very much happy to us in month of October, November and December rather than May, June, July. That means the sun is one and the same, but the responsive stimulus inside the body is actually that what it is matters. So in December, we prefer to go into the sunlight due to the outer atmosphere is getting warmer day by day, right? So in summer, if you go into the summer, we don't wish to go into the sun all the time because it's very hot outside. The response to the object from our body has a very constraints inside our body as well. To purify this and to have a very deep mechanism inside it, we have to know about ourselves. The physical constitution of a body, the physical constitution of one body is completely different from the physical constitution of another body. Even though I have two eyes and you have two eyes, I have one nose and you have one nose, my response is different from your response. My response of things towards the nature is completely different from your response of the nature, because I am God to myself and you are God to yourself. Because God has created me in His own image and created you in His own image. His images are very vivid and very vital and very different to each other. As we are different to each other and we are many in number, and we have many different forms. Likewise, our constitutions also have very different forms. That's why my hatredness is it might not be your hatredness, it might be your love and your passion. Likewise, your love and passion might not be my love and passion too. Sometimes they both can travel equal. So all these sort of a human relations or sort of a human brain capacitors and working of all these things has a very latent arrangement with the nature. So that itself shows that man is a social animal, or we can say that it's a social man living up with all the different constitutions of the world. To the tree community, we have a sort of a respect towards it, or we have to live for the tree community as well. And at the same time, we have very close contacts with the domestic, with the animal community. The domestic animals have a very deep things running into it. At the same time, we have a very deep contacts, or we have a very deep contacts with the sky, or with the stars inside it, which we call as the heavenly objects, and the science of astronomy and astrology also takes a part of it. And one such day where we have a heavenly contact is today. That is the 22nd of June, where the complete willpower is being transformed from one channel to the another channel. That is from the northern gateway to the southern gateway. Today we are in a junction, or in a junction where we are at the peak of a knowledge, and from there we have to go for an highest another peak. So this peak of knowledge is again has become a bottom for an highest another channel. So we have to transcend ourselves from one point of time from one point of knowledge to another point of knowledge. By knowing what? By knowing the scriptures, by knowing the science, by knowing about ourselves. By knowing about ourselves in all these subjects is only the definition what we can take about the sociology. That's what even Pradyumna tells as well, maybe in the coming up class as well. The moment when you touch about the scriptures, you will be knowing about what actually is there in our scriptures. Just there will be a small example, I'll just finish it off. There is a factor that actually says the distance between sun and the earth in form of a very small sloka. You might be knowing about some small fairy tale where Lord Hanuman in his childhood jumped from earth towards the sky